My beloved child, I have stirred you awake for a reason. This is not an accident. This is not random restlessness. This is not just another night of turning from side to side while your thoughts refuse to be quiet. When your sleep was taken from you, it was not to harm you but to reach you. I am the one who watches over you when the lights are off and the world is silent. And tonight, I am calling your attention with urgency wrapped in love. You felt it, didn't you? That unusual pull. That sense that something is pressing on your spirit. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself you would deal with it tomorrow. You tried to close your eyes again, hoping sleep would return and drown out the stirring inside you. But I did not allow it. Not because I am harsh, but because I am a father who refuses to let his child drift when something important is at hand. This is an emergency, but not the kind that brings destruction. It is an emergency of destiny. It is an emergency of alignment. It is an emergency of love. There are moments in your life when I must interrupt your comfort to protect your future. There are nights when rest must pause so revelation can begin. You have been carrying questions in your heart. Quiet fears you have not spoken aloud. Concerns about tomorrow. Doubts about whether you are on the right path. You smile during the day, but when night comes, the silence exposes what you tried to outrun. I see it all. I hear the thoughts that echo when no one else is listening. And I refuse to let you wrestle alone in the dark. This message is not here to frighten you. It is here to awaken you. There is something shifting around you. Something forming that you cannot yet see. And before it fully unfolds, I need your attention. I need your heart steady. I need your trust awakened. You may have thought your sleep was stolen by anxiety. But look deeper. Beneath the surface of your worry is my voice, gently knocking. Beneath the tension in your chest is my hand, reaching. I would rather disturb your night than allow you to miss what I am doing. My beloved child, when a loving father sees danger ahead on the road, he does not whisper casually. He calls out. He moves quickly. He acts with urgency because love does not delay. That is what this moment is. Not panic, not punishment, but protection. So do not scroll past this as if it is ordinary. Do not treat this as coincidence. You are here because I have drawn you here. I have taken your sleep for a moment so that I may give you something greater than rest, clarity, peace, and direction. Stay with me now. Open your heart fully. What feels urgent will soon feel safe. What feels restless will soon become steady. I am not here to trouble you. I am here to guide you. My beloved child, while you lie there in the quiet hours, staring into the darkness, wondering why your body is tired but your mind refuses to rest, I am closer than you realize. I am not asleep. I am not distracted. I am not unaware of the thoughts circling inside you. I am the one who watches over you when the world grows silent. When the last light in your home is turned off and the sounds of the day disappear, I remain fully present. The night does not distance you from me. It draws you nearer. You have learned to associate the night with vulnerability. When daylight fades, your defenses lower. The strength you carry for others begins to thin. The responsibilities you manage so well during the day loosen their grip, and suddenly your private thoughts rise to the surface. The worries you pushed aside return with louder voices. But listen to me carefully. The night is not your enemy. It is sacred ground. It is the hour when pretense falls away, when you can no longer hide behind productivity or noise. And in that sacred stillness, I lean closer to your heart. During the day, you are surrounded by motion. Notifications demand attention. Conversations pull at your energy. Expectations sit on your shoulders. You are solving, responding, fixing, and proving. Your mind races from one obligation to another. But when night arrives, there is no applause to chase, no task to complete. There is only stillness. And in that stillness, my whisper becomes easier to hear. When your eyes suddenly open at an unusual hour, do not immediately assume something is wrong. Sometimes, I gently stir you because your soul needs alignment more than your body needs sleep. I watch your breathing. I see how tension tightens your muscles even while you lie still. I notice the heaviness pressing against your thoughts. And like a loving father sitting beside his child's bed, I remain steady, patient, ready to comfort what you cannot calm on your own. You may not see me with physical eyes, but you have felt me. That unexplained peace that settles over you for no visible reason. That quiet assurance that interrupts a spiral of fear. That soft inner reminder that says, "You are held." That is me. I do not compete with your anxiety by shouting. I dissolve it with presence. I steady your racing heart by simply being near. My beloved child, while you worry about tomorrow's meeting, tomorrow's bills, tomorrow's unknown outcomes, I am already present there. The future that intimidates you does not intimidate me. The conversations you rehearse in your head are already known to me. The doors you fear may close are already within my sight. Nothing that surprises you surprises me. Nothing that concerns you escapes my attention. There have been nights before this one. Nights when you cried quietly. Nights when you questioned your worth. Nights when you felt abandoned by people you trusted. I was there in every one of them. When you felt forgotten, I was attentive. When you felt unseen, I was watching. When you felt unsupported, I was sustaining you in ways you did not yet recognize. If you could see the protection surrounding your life, you would understand how carefully I have guarded you. There were dangers you never noticed, outcomes that could have unfolded differently, mistakes that could have cost you more. Yet I shielded you. I redirected you. I softened consequences you thought you deserve. My care has been constant even when your awareness has not. The darkness of your room does not mean absence. It means intimacy. In the quiet, you are not performing. You are simply being. And I cherish you not for what you accomplish, but for who you are. Every sigh you release into the silence, I hear. Every tear that slips down unnoticed by others, I treasure. Every silent prayer that forms without words, I understand completely. So when sleep hesitates, do not fight the moment immediately. Pause. Breathe slowly. Let the stillness become connection instead of conflict. Whisper to me what you are afraid to admit to anyone else. I am not withholding rest to punish you. I am inviting you into deeper trust. You are not alone in your room. You are not alone in your thoughts. You are not alone in this season of your life. While others sleep unaware, I remain fully awake, fully attentive, fully committed to your peace. The one who holds galaxies in place is holding you through this very night. My beloved child, now that you know I am near in the night, you must also understand why I have allowed this urgency to press against your spirit. There is something I have been whispering to you for a long time, a gentle instruction, a quiet correction, a step I asked you to take, and you have felt it. You recognized it, yet you postponed it. You told yourself the timing was not right. You convinced yourself you needed more clarity, more strength, more certainty. You said you would respond when life became less complicated. But obedience does not wait for perfect conditions. It begins in trust. There is a decision in your heart that you have delayed, a conversation you know you must have, a boundary you need to establish, a habit you must release, or perhaps a dream I planted inside you that you have kept buried because fear felt safer than faith. Each time I nudged you, you felt a stirring, and each time you silenced it with distraction. But I am not condemning you, my beloved. I am inviting you again. The restlessness you feel tonight is not random anxiety. It is the weight of unacted obedience. When I place something in your heart, it carries life with it, and life must move. When it is ignored, it does not die quietly. It presses. It knocks. It returns in the silence of night. Think of a letter marked urgent that sits unopened on a table. The longer it remains sealed, the heavier it feels. Not because it carries harm, but because it carries importance. What I have spoken to you is like that letter. I am not rushing you to harm you. I am urging you because delay is draining your peace. You have prayed for clarity. I answered. You asked for direction. I showed you a step. You cried out for change. I revealed what must shift. Yet part of you hoped I would choose for you so you would not have to move. My child, love does not force. It invites courage. This is the emergency. Your destiny cannot wait for endless hesitation. The longer you postpone what you already know, the more unsettled you will feel. Not because I am angry, but because your spirit was designed for alignment. When you resist what you know is right, you feel the friction. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to take the next small step. Send the message. Make the call. Release the resentment. Forgive the offense. Apply for the opportunity. Step away from what is harming you. Begin again. It may seem simple, but obedience in small things unlocks peace in great things. And listen closely, my beloved child. If these words are awakening something inside you, do not brush it aside. If your heart is stirring right now, let it respond. If this message is bringing light into a place you kept hidden, bless this message with a like so it may reach others who are wrestling in the dark. Share this message with 3 souls who need courage tonight. Subscribe to this channel for more words that steady your spirit. And do not hesitate to hype this video so it rises and reaches those who feel alone at this hour. When you act, you are not promoting a video. You are helping my whisper travel further. And now hear me clearly. What you open tonight will bring relief, not regret. What you face will free you, not crush you. I would never call you forward without walking ahead of you. Do not postpone this any longer. Open what I have placed before you. Your peace is waiting on the other side of your obedience. If this moment has stirred your heart and you feel the weight of divine urgency lifting into clarity, then understand this, my beloved. When you sow into this mission, you are not giving to a platform. You are releasing light into someone else's midnight. I have said, cast your bread upon the waters, and it shall return to you. And I speak it over you now as living promise. When you release a super thanks, step into membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, or the QR code on this screen, you are opening rivers that carry my word to hidden hearts. This is your moment of alignment. Do not let hesitation silence obedience. As you sow, I breathe increase over your house, peace over your sleep, and provision over your future. Step forward now and seal this stirring with action. My beloved child, now let me speak to the burden you carry into your bed each night. You think it is normal to lie down exhausted and yet feel no relief. You assume that because your body is tired, your mind should follow. But there is a weight you have been carrying long before your head touches the pillow. and that weight does not disappear just because the lights go out. All day long you are strong forever. You answer questions. You solve problems. You manage expectations. You hold back tears. You swallow frustration. You tell yourself you will process it later. But later comes when the room is dark and silent. Later arrives when there is nothing left to distract you. And suddenly, everything you postpone comes rushing in at once. You replay conversations. You rethink decisions. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You question your worth. You carry responsibilities that were never assigned to you by me. My beloved child, you have taken on the role of protector, provider, fixer, and savior in places where you were only meant to trust. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a small child standing at the front door of a house at night, gripping a flashlight, determined to guard the entire home from danger. The child is trembling but refuses to sleep, believing that if they close their eyes, something terrible will happen. Meanwhile, the father of that house stands just behind them, fully capable, fully alert, fully armed with strength the child cannot even comprehend. That child is you. You lie awake believing your vigilance is what keeps everything together. You think if you think long enough, plan hard enough, worry deeply enough, you can prevent loss or failure. But my beloved, your anxiety is not protecting your future. It is only exhausting your present. I never asked you to guard the whole house. I never assigned you the task of controlling every outcome. I did not design your mind to carry the weight of tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Yet night after night, you take that flashlight in your trembling hands and stand watch over problems that are already in my care. This is why your sleep feels distant. It is not because you are weak. It is because you are overloaded. You are carrying silent fears about finances, relationships, health, purpose. You are holding unresolved pain from words that hurt you years ago. You are gripping expectations that were placed on you by others and reinforced by your own inner critic. My beloved child, you were not created to be the source of your own security. You were created to rest in mine. When you lie down tonight, I want you to picture placing each worry into my hands. Not in a dramatic gesture, but in a simple act of trust. Name it quietly. Father, this fear about my future, I give it to you. This regret from my past, I release it to you. This responsibility I have tried to control, I surrender it to you. You do not need complicated words. You need willingness. You may feel resistance at first. Your mind will try to grab the burden back. That is habit, not necessity. You have trained yourself to carry what I never assigned. But habits can be unlearned, and trust can be rebuilt. I am not disappointed in you for feeling overwhelmed. I see how hard you have tried. I see how deeply you care. Your desire to protect and provide comes from love. But love must be rooted in trust, not fear. So let me stand at the door tonight. Let me guard what concerns you. Let me watch over what you cannot control. You are still my child, no matter how grown you feel, no matter how capable you try to be. Lay down the flashlight. Step away from the door. Crawl into the safety of my presence. The house is not unguarded when you sleep. It is safest when you trust me to watch. My beloved child, what if the very thing you have labeled as anxiety is, in truth, an awakening? What if the stirring in your chest is not a sign that you are falling apart, but evidence that you are being called higher? You have been quick to assume something is wrong with you because your heart beats faster at night, because your thoughts feel intense, because your spirit feels alert. But I tell you gently, Not everything that feels uncomfortable is harmful. There is a difference between fear that traps you and awakening that stretches you. Fear whispers that you are unsafe and alone. Awakening whispers that you are stepping into something new. Fear drains you without purpose. Awakening unsettles you because growth is near. You have sensed change approaching. Even if you cannot define it, you feel it. Something in your life cannot remain the same. A pattern is ending. A season is shifting. A version of you that once survived is no longer meant to lead. And when transformation draws close, your spirit becomes alert before your circumstances do. Think of a seed buried beneath soil. Before it breaks through the surface, there is pressure. There is darkness. There is tension in the unseen place. If that seed could feel, it might interpret the cracking of its shell as destruction. But it is not being destroyed. It is being released into growth. My beloved, the cracking you feel is not collapse. It is expansion. For years, you have adapted to survive. You learned to be strong quickly. You learned to expect disappointment so you would not be surprised. You learned to hold back parts of yourself to avoid rejection. Those survival skills protected you once. I do not despise them. They help you endure. But now they are too small for where I am leading you. When you lie awake at night and your thoughts rise to the surface, it is often because your old patterns can no longer contain the future I am shaping. Your spirit is sensing that you cannot continue the same habits, the same tolerances, the same fears, and that realization feels uncomfortable. You have asked me to grow you. You have prayed for purpose. You have asked for deeper peace and clear direction. But growth requires awareness. Purpose requires courage. Peace requires surrender. And surrender begins when you realize something must change. Do not misunderstand this moment. I am not overwhelming you to punish you. I am awakening you because you are ready. The sensitivity you feel is not weakness. It is perception increasing. You are noticing what you once ignored. You are questioning what you once accepted. You are longing for alignment instead of mere survival. Anxiety tells you to run and numb the feeling. Awakening invites you to sit still and listen. Anxiety spirals without clarity. Awakening asks you gentle questions. What must be released? What truth have you been avoiding? What step have you delayed? Where have you outgrown your old limitations? My beloved child, I am expanding your capacity. I am strengthening your inner foundation. I am teaching you to recognize my voice more clearly than your fears. And that requires moments when everything feels heightened. When a musician tunes an instrument, the strings must be tightened before they produce clear sound. If the strings can speak, they might complain about the tension. But without that tension, there is no harmony. In the same way, I am fine-tuning your spirit. The tension you feel is preparation for clarity. Do not rush to label yourself broken. Do not rush to silence the stirring with distraction. Sit with me in it. Breathe through it. Ask me what I am revealing. I will not hide from your honest questions. I will not mock your vulnerability. I will guide you gently into understanding. This is not the beginning of your unraveling. It is the beginning of your unfolding. You are not losing control. You are learning trust. You are not being crushed. You are being called upward. So when you feel that alertness tonight, whisper this truth. This is not anxiety. This is awakening. And let that awareness become hope instead of fear. My beloved child, if I am awakening you, it is because I am preparing you. I do not stir your spirit without purpose. I do not allow discomfort without direction. There is something ahead of you that requires a stronger heart, a clear mind, and a deeper trust than you have known before. And because I love you, I prepare you before you arrive there. You often wish I would simply remove every obstacle from your path. You asked me to make the road smooth, predictable, and free of tension. But if I cleared every challenge without strengthening you, you would arrive unready. You would stand in blessing without the capacity to sustain it. Gavrayan is protection. Think of a builder who reinforces the foundation of a house before adding another level. The reinforcement happens quietly, beneath the surface, unseen by neighbors passing by. It may even feel inconvenient to those living inside during construction. But without it, the added weight would cause collapse. In the same way, I am reinforcing you from within. The restlessness you feel is not a warning of disaster. It is a sign that expansion is near. Your responsibilities may grow. Your influence may increase. Your prayers may begin to be answered in ways that stretch you beyond what feels familiar. And before those doors open fully, I strengthen your character so you will not shrink back in fear. You have asked me for greater impact. You have asked me to use your life for something meaningful. You have prayed for open doors, for new opportunities, for restoration in areas that once felt barren. My beloved, I have heard you. But the very answers you seek require you to become more anchored than you were yesterday. When I prepare you, I adjust your perspective. I expose areas of insecurity that would sabotage your confidence. I highlight habits that would undermine your peace. I bring to light attachments that would limit your growth. Not to shame you, but to free you. Preparation can feel like delay. It can feel like waiting when you want movement. It can feel like isolation when you desire recognition. But hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are formative. Imagine an athlete training before a great competition. The hours of conditioning, repetition, and endurance building do not happen on the stage. They happen in private, often unnoticed. Muscles ache. Limits are tested. Strength is slowly increased. When the moment of visibility comes, the preparation reveals itself as quiet power. You are in such a season. You may not see dramatic change around you yet, but within you, shifts are taking place. You are becoming less reactive and more discerning. You are learning to pause before speaking. You are noticing your triggers and choosing patience instead of impulse. These small internal victories are signs of preparation. My beloved child, I am also preparing you emotionally. The future I am shaping for you will require resilience. It will require compassion without losing boundaries. It will require courage in moments when others hesitate. So I am teaching you now to trust my voice above the noise. There will be conversations ahead where you must stand firm. There will be opportunities where you must say yes despite uncertainty. There will be blessings that once would have overwhelmed you but will now fit because you have grown. Do not despise this refining process. When metal is placed in fire, impurities rise to the surface so they can be removed. The heat is not meant to destroy the metal but to strengthen it. In the same way, the intensity you feel is burning away doubt, fear, and false identity. What remains will be steady and strong. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being readied. Trust that I see what you cannot yet see. Trust that the stretching has meaning. Trust that the quiet strengthening within you is shaping capacity for what lies ahead. I am not only with you in this season, I am building you for the next one. My beloved child, I need you to see clearly what is happening around you and within you. There is a battle over your peace, not over your talent, not over your appearance, not even over your achievements. The true battle is over your inner stillness, because peace is the soil where clarity grows. When you are calm, you hear me better. When you are steady, you choose wisely. When your heart is anchored, you are not easily swayed by fear. That is why your peace feels targeted. You have noticed it, haven't you? The way intrusive thoughts try to arrive the moment you begin to settle. The way worry intensifies right when you are about to rest. The way old memories surface just as you begin to feel hopeful again. This is not coincidence. There is resistance to your stability because your stability carries strength. No one fights over empty ground. No one tries to invade territory that has no value. The pressure you feel is evidence that your mind, your spirit, your calling carry weight. Your calm threatens chaos. Your trust disrupts fear. And so, the battle focuses on disturbing your inner world. But listen to me carefully, my beloved. The existence of a battle does not mean you are weak. It means you are significant. The enemy of your peace often disguises itself as responsibility. It whispers that constant overthinking is wisdom. It suggests that if you replay every possible negative outcome, you will somehow prevent it. It convinces you that worry is preparation. But worry without action is not preparation. It is exhaustion. And exhaustion clouds discernment. You have felt moments when your mind runs in circles, analyzing the same problem repeatedly, as if more thinking will create control. But control is not the same as peace. And you were not designed to control every variable in your life. You were designed to trust. Sometimes the battle over your peace is loud and obvious. Comfort your ups unexpectedly. News arrives that shakes your sense of security. Words are spoken that wound deeper than they should. In those moments, it feels like your calm shatters. You question whether you are strong enough to handle it. But strength is not measured by the absence of reaction. Strength is revealed in your return to trust. Imagine standing on a shoreline during a storm. Waves crash violently. Wind pushes against your body. For a moment, you may stumble. But beneath your feet is solid ground. That ground is me. The waves may hit you, but they cannot carry you away unless you release your footing. I am that footing. My beloved child, you have underestimated how protected you are. You measure danger by what you feel. I measure protection by what I prevent. There have been battles you never saw because I fought them before they reached you. There have been lies that tried to take root in your mind that I quietly uprooted. There have been doors that would have led to deeper chaos that I closed without you understanding why. The battle over your peace is not meant to consume you. It is meant to train you. Just as muscles strengthen through resistance, your discernment grows when challenged. Each time a fearful thought arises and you choose not to agree with it, you strengthen your authority. Each time you breathe deeply instead of reacting impulsively, you reinforce your stability. You are learning that not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves control over your decisions. You can pause. You can ask, is this truth or is this fear speaking? When you bring your thoughts into my presence, distortion loses power. Peace is not passive. It is active trust. It is the decision to remain anchored even when circumstances fluctuate. And you, my beloved, are becoming anchored. Do not interpret resistance as defeat. Interpret it as confirmation that your calm matters. Stand firm in the midst of mental storms. Let fear exhaust itself against your steadiness. The battle over your peace may be real, but so is my protection. I am not watching from a distance. I am engaging. I am guarding. I am strengthening you from within. And I have already declared that your peace will not be stolen. My beloved child, I want you to pause and remember something important. There were nights when you folded your hands, closed your eyes, and whispered into the quiet, "Please, show me what to do. Give me a sign. Make it clear. I do not want to miss what you have for me." You may not remember the exact date or the exact wording, but I remember every breath of it. I heard the desperation behind your calm voice. I saw the tears you wiped away quickly. I felt the longing in your spirit for certainty. And now, here you are. You have been sensing something unusual. A repeated tug in your heart. A message that feels too timely to ignore. A restlessness that will not disappear no matter how much you distract yourself. My beloved, this is not random. This is response. When you ask me for a sign, you must understand that I answer in ways that awaken you. Sometimes the answer comes as comfort. Sometimes it comes as correction. Sometimes it comes as a divine interruption that refuses to be overlooked. You prayed for clarity, and clarity often arrives with responsibility. You prayed for direction, and direction requires movement. Imagine someone waiting for an urgent letter that determines their next step. Each day they check the mailbox with anticipation. When the envelope finally arrives, their hands tremble as they hold it. The weight of that paper feels heavier than it should. Not because it carries harm, but because it carries decision. That is what this moment is for you. The envelope has arrived. For a long time, you have sensed that something in your life cannot remain the same. A pattern that drains you. A situation that requires honesty. A calling you keep postponing. You told yourself you were waiting for the right time, for more confirmation, for clearer signs. My beloved child, how many confirmations have you already received? You asked me to close doors that were not meant for you. I closed some. You asked me to open the right ones. I began to nudge you toward them. You asked me to remove confusion. I have been repeating the same truth to you in different ways so you would recognize it. The repetition is not coincidence. It is compassion. You see, I do not shout because I am impatient. I repeat because I am patient. I circle back because I love you too much to let you drift without guidance. The stirring you feel right now is not anxiety meant to frighten you. It is awareness rising to the surface. Beneath your hesitation, you already know what must shift. Beneath your fear, you recognize the truth. You know where you have been tolerating less than you deserve. You know where you have been shrinking to avoid conflict. You know where you have been delaying obedience. And still, I am gentle with you. A sign from me is not meant to shame you. It is meant to align you. It is an invitation, not an accusation. When light enters a dark room, it does not scold the darkness. It simply reveals what was there. In the same way, I am illuminating areas of your life so you can step forward with confidence instead of confusion. You once said, "If you are there, show me." My beloved, would this moment exist if I were absent? Would your heart feel stirred if I were silent? The very fact that something inside you is responding right now is evidence of my presence. I am not distant. I am deliberate. Sometimes my signs are subtle, a conversation that echoes your private prayer, a phrase that appears repeatedly, a door that closes gently but firmly. Other times, my signs feel urgent because the season is shifting quickly. Not because I want to pressure you, but because delay would cost you peace. A sign does not remove your participation, and confirms your direction. I illuminate the path, but you must choose to step onto it. I steady your heart, but you must move your feet. You asked for a sign. This is not coincidence. This is not random timing. Is his response. Do not shrink back now. Do not pretend you did not ask for clarity. Open what I have placed before you. Lean into the revelation instead of resisting it. My beloved child, I am answering you, and I will continue to answer as long as you continue to seek. My beloved child, there is something you must understand about the gentle knocking on your heart. What you ignore does not disappear. It waits. It returns. It knocks again, sometimes softer, sometimes louder, but always persistent. Not because I desire to trouble you, but because I love you too deeply to let you settle beneath your calling. You have tried to silence certain truths. You have distracted yourself with noise, with busyness, with endless scrolling, with conversations that keep you from sitting alone with your thoughts. You told yourself that if you did not look directly at the issue, it would fade on its own. But what carries purpose does not fade. It presses. Imagine someone standing at your door with an urgent message meant to protect you. If you pretend you are not home, they do not immediately walk away. They knock again. They wait. They try once more. The knocking is not harassment. It is care. It is urgency wrapped in concern. That is how my voice operates in your life. When you avoid a necessary conversation, it resurfaces in your mind at night. When you delay a decision you know must be made, it lingers in your chest like unfinished business. When you suppress a calling I have placed inside you, it whispers through your dissatisfaction. The knocking continues because alignment cannot be forced into silence. My beloved, ignoring truth does not create peace. It creates tension. Temporary distraction may numb the discomfort, but it cannot remove the root. And I do not want you living in quiet tension. I want you living in clear freedom. You have sensed this knocking in different forms. It may feel like restlessness in your career. It may feel like conviction about a relationship. It may feel like a creative dream that refuses to leave your imagination. It may feel like the need to forgive someone you would rather forget. Each time you push it away, it circles back, not to accuse you, but to call you forward. There is a reason the knocking often grows louder at night. In the stillness, distractions fall away. Your defense is lower. The truth has space to rise. And while you may interpret that rising awareness as discomfort, it is actually invitation. You fear that opening the door will overwhelm you. You fear that facing the truth will demand more strength than you possess. But what you have not realized is that the strength you need is released the moment you choose honesty. Clarity brings relief, even when it first feels intimidating. Think of a small stone in your shoe. At first, it is only slightly uncomfortable. You try to ignore it and keep walking. But with every step, your irritation increases. Eventually, you must stop and remove it. The longer you delay, the more painful it becomes. The solution was simple, but postponement magnified the discomfort. In the same way, what you have been avoiding is not meant to injure you. It is meant to be addressed. My beloved child, I am not standing at your door with condemnation. I am standing there with guidance. I am not knocking to shame you. I am knocking to free you. The longer you resist, the heavier it feels. The moment you open the door, the pressure shifts. Do not confuse persistence with punishment. My repeated nudges are proof of my commitment to you. If I did not care, I would allow you to drift quietly into misalignment. But I will not watch you settle for less than what aligns with your purpose. Tonight, instead of pretending you do not hear the knocking, acknowledge it. Speak honestly with me about what you have been avoiding. Name it. Bring it into the light. You do not have to solve everything in one moment. You only need to open the door. When you do, you will discover that what felt like threat is actually direction. What felt like pressure is actually protection. And what felt like unrest is actually the beginning of peace. My beloved, I knock because I love, and I will keep knocking until you open, not to burden you, but to lead you into freedom. My beloved child, now we come to something simple, yet powerful. Obedience unlocks rest. Not perfection, not performance, not having every answer, just obedience. The kind that says, I trust you enough to take the next step, even when the whole staircase is not visible. You have been searching for peace as if it were something you could think your way into. You have tried to reason your fears into silence. You have tried to plan your way into security. But peace is not manufactured by control. It is released through surrender. There is a deep connection between your unrest and the step you already know you must take. I say this gently, not to burden you, but to free you. When I nudge you towards something, and you resist, your spirit feels the tension. When I ask you to release something and you cling to it, your heart feels divided. Division within you disrupts rest. Obedience, however small, brings alignment. And alignment brings calm. Think of a door that has been slightly misaligned on its hinges. Every time it opens or closes, it scrapes against the frame. The sound is irritating. The motion feels strained. But once the hinges are adjusted properly, the same door moves smoothly and quietly. Nothing about the door's size changed, only its alignment. In the same way, your soul moves more peacefully when it aligns with my guidance. You may think obedience requires dramatic action. Sometimes it does. But often, it begins with something simple. Apologizing first. Ending a harmful pattern. Waking up earlier to spend quiet time with me. Speaking truth instead of staying silent. Letting go of resentment. Trusting me with a decision instead of obsessing over every possible outcome. Each act of obedience is like setting a heavy bag down after carrying it too long. At first, your arms feel strange without the weight. But then relief washes over you. Your body relaxes. Your breathing slows. That is what obedience does for your spirit. My beloved, you have asked me for peaceful sleep. But peace does not come from avoidance. It comes from trust expressed through action. When you step forward in obedience, even if your hands tremble, something inside you settles. You no longer wrestle with the question of what should I do, because you are already doing it. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to be willing. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite it. And when you move with me, I move with you. Let me speak clearly. The step you take in obedience tonight may seem small, but it will echo into your tomorrow. One honest conversation can unlock weeks of anxiety. One surrendered habit can restore months of peace. One act of forgiveness can release years of tension. You do not need to solve your entire future before you sleep. You only need to respond to what I have already shown you. If these words are settling into your heart, and you feel the truth of them, do not let this moment pass quietly. Bless this message with a like so it can travel further into the nights of others who are restless. Share it with 3 people who are struggling to find peace. Subscribe to this channel so you can continue receiving guidance that steadies your spirit. And take a moment to hype this video so it rises and reaches those who need this reminder that obedience brings rest. When you do, you are helping my whisper reach beyond your own life. My beloved child, rest is not hiding from responsibility. It is fulfilling it in trust. Lay down the burden of overthinking. Pick up the simplicity of obedience. Take the step. And then, Close your eyes knowing you are aligned. My beloved child, now I want to speak to something deeper, something quieter than your daily worries. Beneath the surface of your thoughts, beneath the visible stress and the obvious responsibilities, there is a secret wound you rarely acknowledge. It does not always show itself in daylight. It waits for the night. It waits for stillness. And when everything grows quiet, it begins to ache. You have learned to function with it. You have built strength around it. You have told yourself it no longer matters. But your sleepless nights often trace back to this hidden place. Perhaps it was a betrayal you never fully processed. Words spoken over you that cut deeper than you admitted. A moment when you felt abandoned, unseen, or not enough. Maybe it was a failure that embarrassed you, or a rejection that reshaped how you see yourself. You carried on. You survived. But survival is not the same as healing. My beloved, I have watched you protect that wound. You built walls around it so no one could touch it again. You became more independent, more cautious, less vulnerable. You told yourself that strength meant not needing anyone too deeply. But the heart that refuses to feel pain also struggles to feel peace. When night comes and your defense is lower, the wound whispers. It reminds you of what hurt. It questions your worth. It suggests that history may repeat itself. That is why your thoughts feel heavier in the dark. The surface issues are rarely the real cause. The deeper ache is, I am not bringing this to your attention to reopen pain. I am bringing it to light so it can finally heal. Imagine a splinter lodged just beneath the skin. For a while, you may ignore it. You learn to move carefully around it. But any pressure causes discomfort. True healing requires removing it, even if the process stings for a moment. Only then can the skin close properly. My beloved child, I am gentle with your wounds. I do not press harshly. I do not expose you publicly. I work in the quiet places. I sit beside you in the dark, not to accuse, but to restore. You have wondered why certain situations trigger you more than they should. Why small comments feel large. Why certain tone of voice make your chest tighten. These reactions are not weakness. They are signals. They are invitations to let me into the hidden rooms of your heart. You do not need to relive every painful detail. You do not need to analyze every memory. Simply acknowledge that it hurt. Admit that it affected you. Invite me into it. Say quietly, Father, this still hurts. That honesty is the doorway to healing. I am not impatient with your process. Some wounds took years to form. They may take time to fully mend. But every moment you allow me to touch that place, restoration begins. You are not defined by what wounded you. You are not permanently shaped by rejection. You are not destined to repeat the same pain. The story does not end at the injury. When I heal, I do more than remove pain. I restore identity. I remind you who you are beyond the hurt. I replace lies with truth. I quiet the fear that says you are unworthy of love or incapable of trust. My beloved child, your sleeplessness is sometimes the soul asking for care. Do not silence it with distraction. Let me tend to it. You do not have to carry secret pain alone. You do not have to pretend you are unaffected. You do not have to protect yourself from healing. I am here, not to expose you, but to restore you. And as that hidden wound begins to close, you will notice something unexpected. Your nights will grow softer. Your thoughts will lose their sharp edges. Your heart will feel lighter. Healing beneath the surface creates peace above it. And I am committed to healing you completely. My beloved child, as I heal the hidden wounds within you, I am also working in a place you cannot physically see but constantly feel, your mind. I am rewiring your thoughts. For years, certain patterns have played repeatedly in your head, so often that you began to believe they were facts. You assumed that the voice of doubt was simply your personality. You assumed that self-criticism was maturity. You assumed that constant worry was responsibility. But many of those patterns were shaped by fear and survival, not by truth. And now, I am gently reshaping them. You learned to think a certain way because of what you experienced. When you were disappointed, your mind told you not to expect too much again. When you were hurt, your mind told you to stay guarded. When you failed, your mind told you to lower your confidence. These thoughts form protective layers. They helped you cope. I do not condemn you for building them, but they were never meant to become permanent structures. What protected you in one season may now restrict you in another. As I prepare you for what is ahead, I cannot allow old narratives to govern your future. That is why you feel this internal shift. You are becoming more aware of your thoughts. You catch yourself mid-spiral. You pause before accepting harsh self-judgment. You question assumptions you once embraced automatically. That awareness is not accidental. It is transformation beginning. Think of a house undergoing renovation. When walls are opened and old wiring is exposed, the process looks messy. Dust fills the air. Noise echoes through the rooms. It may even feel more chaotic during the repair than before it started. But the disruption is temporary. The purpose is stability and safety. In the same way, I am exposing outdated mental wiring so that new, healthier connections can replace them. You have believed things about yourself that I never declared. You believed you must earn love through performance. You believed mistakes define your identity. You believed that rest equals laziness. You believed that asking for help is weakness. These thoughts did not originate from my heart. They were conclusions drawn from pain. Now I am planting truth where fear once ruled. When a quieter thought enters your mind saying, "You are worthy even when you are imperfect," that is me. When you sense reassurance that your future is not doomed by your past, that is me. When you feel an unexpected calm replacing catastrophic thinking, that is me. At first, these new thoughts may feel unfamiliar. You may even resist them because they contradict years of conditioning. But unfamiliar does not mean untrue. It means new. Picture a garden that has grown wild with weeds. For a long time, you may have thought the weeds were simply part of the landscape. But when the gardener begins clearing them, the soil is disturbed. The ground looks uneven. It may even seem barren for a moment. Yet beneath the surface, healthy roots are given room to breathe. New seeds are planted in soil that is finally free. Your mind is that garden. Old thoughts may try to return. They will whisper, "Nothing has changed." You will always struggle. You not trust this peace, but you are learning not to agree with every voice. Thoughts are suggestions, not commands. You have authority over what you nurture. Each time you reject a lie and choose truth, you strengthen new pathways. Each time you pause before reacting and instead breathe deeply, you reinforce calm. Each time you speak kindly to yourself instead of condemning yourself, you align with my voice. This rewiring requires patience. You may not see dramatic transformation overnight. There will be days when old patterns resurface. Do not interpret that as failure. Healing is not linear. Growth moves forward even when it feels slow. I am not only calming your anxiety, I am changing the framework through which you interpret your life. I am teaching your mind to expect goodness. I am teaching your heart to trust without bracing for disaster. I am teaching your spirit to recognize my voice as the loudest truth. You are not trapped in old thinking. You are being renewed. And as your thoughts align with truth, your nights will grow quieter, your decisions clearer, and your confidence steadier. My beloved child, I am rebuilding you from within. And what I build will be strong, peaceful, and lasting. My beloved child, there is something you must recognize with clarity. Exhaustion is not always accidental. There is an effort to drain you, not merely physically, but emotionally and spiritually. The enemy does not always attack with loud chaos. Sometimes, the strategy is simple: wear you down. When you are exhausted, your thoughts grow heavier. When you are exhausted, your patience thins. When you are exhausted, hope feels distant and small problems feel overwhelming. Fatigue clouds discernment. It makes lies sound reasonable. It makes fear feel logical. That is why the battle over your rest hath been so persistent. You have assumed your tiredness is only the result of responsibilities. And yes, you carry many. But there is also subtle pressure attempting to keep you in a constant state of depletion. And this overthinking, reliving conversations, anticipating negative outcomes, carrying emotional burdens that are not yours to hold. All of it drains you slowly. The enemy understands something about you. When you are well rested in spirit, you are powerful. When your mind is clear, you make wise decisions. When your heart is steady, you reflect my peace. So the strategy becomes simple: interrupt your rest, distort your thoughts, keep you running in mental circles until you feel too tired to move forward. But listen carefully, my beloved. Exhaustion is not your identity. You were not created to live in a constant state of depletion. You were designed for rhythm, for work and restoration, for effort and renewal. Even the earth follows cycles of light and darkness, activity and stillness. Yet you have allowed yourself to believe that constant strain is normal. There is a difference between healthy effort and draining striving. Healthy effort energizes you with purpose. Draining striving leaves you empty and anxious. I do not call you into endless striving. I call you into faithful steps followed by trust. Imagine a lamp plugged into a power source. As long as it remains connected, it shines steadily. But if it is unplugged, it may flicker briefly before dimming. In the same way, when you try to carry life in your own strength without reconnecting to me, you feel that flicker. You begin to run low. My beloved child, you cannot pour from a cup that is constantly empty. And yet you have tried. You have given energy to others while neglecting your own restoration. You have said yes when you needed to pause. You have worried when you needed to pray. You have scrolled when you needed silence. The enemy prefers you distracted and depleted. Because a tired mind does not question lies. A weary heart does not dream boldly. A drained spirit settles for survival instead of stepping into purpose. But I am restoring your strength. Even now, as you listen, something within you is being renewed. Awareness itself is energy returning. When you recognize that exhaustion hath been part of the battle, you stop blaming yourself. You stop calling yourself weak. You begin to see that you need replenishment, not shame. Rest is not laziness. Rest is resistance. When you choose to pause in my presence instead of chasing every anxious thought, you resist depletion. When you lay down your burdens instead of rehearsing them all night, you reclaim strength. When you sleep in trust instead of intention, you interrupt the strategy against you. My beloved, I am inviting you into deeper rest, not just physical sleep, but soul restoration. This means setting boundaries around your thoughts, It means refusing to replay negativity endlessly. It means trusting me enough to disconnect from problems you cannot solve at midnight. You are not called to be endlessly available to every demand. You are called to be aligned with me. And alignment includes rest. I am breathing fresh strength into you. I am clearing mental fog. I am lifting heaviness from your shoulders. You will not remain drained. You will not remain depleted. The enemy may have hoped to exhaust you into surrender, but you will not surrender to fatigue. You will rise in renewed clarity, because I am your source, and I do not run dry. My beloved child, there is a lie that has followed you quietly through many seasons of your life. It is the lie that says you must handle everything on your own, that you must be strong without support, that asking for help is weakness, that vulnerability will cost you respect. And so you have fought silent battles in isolation, believing that solitude equals strength. But you were never meant to fight alone. From the beginning, I designed you for connection, with me and with others. Yet somewhere along your journey, perhaps through disappointment or betrayal, you decided it was safer to depend only on yourself. You built independence as a shield. You told yourself, if I do not rely on anyone, I cannot be let down. That shield may have protected you once, but now it weighs heavily on your spirit. When night comes and you feel the pressure of everything you carry, part of that weight is loneliness. Not necessarily the absence of people around you, but the absence of shared burden. You hold in your worries. You conceal your struggles. You present composure while internally wrestling storms. And exhaustion follows. My beloved, strength does not mean isolation. Strength means knowing where your support comes from. Picture a soldier entering battle without armor, without allies, without a commander guiding strategy. That would not be bravery. It would be vulnerability to defeat. In the same way, when you attempt to face every challenge without leaning on me, you expose yourself to unnecessary strain. I have never asked you to carry your battles alone. When fear approaches, I stand beside you. When confusion clouds your thoughts, I offer clarity. When opposition rises, I am your defender. Yet too often, you begin fighting before you even acknowledge my presence. You move into conflict rehearsing arguments in your mind instead of resting in my assurance. You face decisions with frantic analysis instead of quiet trust. You brace yourself for disappointment before allowing me to guide your steps. My beloved child, I am not a distant observer in your life. I am an active protector. When you feel surrounded by uncertainty, I am already positioning protection around you. When you sense tension building, I am steady and unmoved. There have been moments when you believed you survived solely because of your own resilience. But look back carefully. Were there not unexpected helps? Was there not strength that appeared when you thought you had none left? Was there not provision when you feared lack? That was not coincidence. That was my partnership with you. You are also not meant to walk entirely alone among others. I am teaching you that safe connection exists. That vulnerability, when placed wisely, brings relief rather than harm. You do not need to broadcast your struggles to everyone, but neither must you bury them from everyone. Isolation magnifies fear. Shared burden lightens it. Imagine carrying a heavy table by yourself. You strain, adjusting your grip, nearly dropping it. But when another person takes the opposite side, the weight divides. The load becomes manageable. In the same way, when you allow me to carry what overwhelms you, the pressure lessens immediately. I am not disappointed in your desire to be strong. I admire your resilience. But resilience without reliance leads to burnout. I want you resilient and rested, capable and connected. When you feel the urge to retreat inward and say, "I will handle this," pause. Whisper instead, "Father, stand with me." Invite me into the room before the conversation begins. Invite me into your thoughts before anxiety escalates. Invite me into your exhaustion before it deepens. You are not alone in the fight over your peace. You are not abandoned in the tension. You are not unsupported in your growth. Lay down the belief that you must prove your strength by carrying everything yourself. True strength is partnership with me. My beloved child, I fight for you. I stand with you. And when you lean into my presence, you will discover that battles feel smaller when you are no longer facing them alone. My beloved child, there is something sacred woven into your life that you have sensed for years, even if you could not fully explain it. A calling, a quiet but persistent awareness that you were not created merely to survive, pay bills, and repeat the same patterns endlessly. Deep within you, there is a knowing that your life carries meaning beyond routine. Yet each time that awareness rises, fear rises alongside it. And for a long time, fear has seemed louder. You feel the pull toward something more integrity, more courage, more influence, more healing, more purpose. It may not always come with a clear title or a detailed plan. Sometimes it shows up as dissatisfaction with staying where you are. Sometimes it appears as a dream you are afraid to speak aloud. Sometimes it feels like a burden to help others in ways that stretch you beyond comfort. But every time you sense it, a voice quickly follows. What if you fail? What if you are not qualified? What if people misunderstand you? What if you step out and nothing happens? And slowly, you retreat. My beloved, I need you to understand something clearly. The presence of fear does not mean you are unfit. It means the step in front of you matters. If your life carried no purpose, there would be no resistance. If your actions had no impact, there would be no intimidation. Your calling feels larger than you because it is meant to grow you. Think of a seed planted in soil. The seed does not resemble the tree it will become. If you judged its potential by its current size, you would underestimate it. In the same way, you look at your present self and measure your ability by your current confidence. But I see the full tree. I see the shade you will provide. I see the fruit you will produce. I see the lives you will touch in ways you cannot yet imagine. Fear magnifies your limitations, but calling magnifies my faithfulness. You often measure readiness by emotional certainty. You think, when I feel brave enough, then I will move. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite it. Readiness grows as you act, not before you act. Consider someone standing at the edge of a vast body of water, unsure whether they can swim. The water looks deep. The waves seem unpredictable. Remaining on the shore feels safer. But once they step in, they discover that the water holds them up. In the same way, when you step toward your purpose, you will discover strength rising within you that was not visible before. Your calling does not always mean standing on a stage or building something visible to the world. Sometimes it means leading quietly with integrity. Sometimes it means breaking a generational cycle that has lasted for years. Sometimes it means loving differently than you were loved. Sometimes it means forgiving where bitterness once lived. Purpose is not always public, but it is always powerful. The reason fear grows louder when you approach your calling is because growth requires expansion. Expansion stretches comfort zones. It challenges familiar habits. It exposes insecurity. But stretching is not tearing. It is strengthening. My beloved child, I would not awaken you if I did not intend to use you. I would not stir dissatisfaction within you if stagnation were your destiny. I would not place vision in your heart if fulfillment were impossible. You have been shrinking your dreams to match your fear. It is time to let your trust outgrow your doubt. You may not have every resource yet. You may not have every answer. But you have my presence. And my presence is greater than your uncertainty. Stop asking, am I capable? And begin asking, am I willing? Willingness opens doors that fear keeps closed. Willingness invites growth. Willingness signals trust. You do not need to leap 10 years ahead tonight. You only need to take the next faithful step. Write the first line. Start the first habit. Make the first phone call. Set the first boundary. Choose the first act of obedience. Your calling is not meant to intimidate you into hiding. It is meant to invite you into partnership with me. My beloved, your life was designed for impact, not invisibility. Your purpose is larger than your fear. And when you step forward, you will find that I have already prepared the ground beneath your feet. My beloved child, do not dismiss this night as ordinary. I know it looks like every other night you have lived through. The same walls surround you. The same quiet air fills your room. The same responsibilities are waiting for you in the morning. But something within you is not the same. Something is shifting. This is not just another restless moment. This is a turning point. There are certain nights that divide your life into before and after. They do not always come with visible signs. No trumpet sound. No dramatic event announces them. Yet in the quiet, a decision is formed. A boundary is drawn. A surrender is made. And from that unseen choice, a new direction begins. For a long time, you have been standing in the space between knowing and doing. You have sensed what must change, but you hesitated. You have heard my whisper, but you delayed your response. You have recognized patterns that cannot continue, yet comfort kept you in place. The middle ground has been your home for too long, and the middle is exhausting. It is where you feel conviction without movement. It is where clarity flickers but action stalls. It is where you replay possibilities instead of stepping into reality. You have felt the tension of it. The way peace seems just out of reach. The way sleep becomes lighter because something within you knows you cannot remain where you are. My beloved, tonight is the moment where you shift from hesitation to intention. A turning point is not about sudden perfection. It is about a conscious decision. It is the quiet resolve that says, I will not ignore this any longer. It is the courage to move from contemplation into obedience. It is the willingness to trust me with the outcome instead of demanding full understanding first. Imagine standing at a crossroads in the early morning fog. You cannot see miles ahead, but you know one path leads back to familiarity and the other leads forward into growth. Remaining frozen in the middle will not remove the fog. You must choose a direction. And once you take a few steps, the path becomes clearer. You have been waiting for complete certainty before moving. But certainty often grows after commitment. When you take one faithful step, I illuminate the next. When you respond to what you already know, confusion begins to fade. This night is not about dramatic change that everyone will see tomorrow. It is about an internal shift that only you and I understand. It is the moment you stop negotiating with fear. It is the moment you say, even if I feel uncertain, I will trust. It is the moment you decide that obedience matters more than comfort. Think of a ship adjusting its course in the middle of the ocean. A change in direction may look small in the moment. The passengers may not even feel it. But miles later, that small turn determines an entirely different destination. In the same way, your decision tonight may seem subtle, but it will alter the trajectory of your future. My beloved child, I am not pressuring you with harsh urgency. I am inviting you into alignment. The stirring in your spirit is not panic. It is purpose knocking gently. You have wrestled long enough. You have analyzed every possibility. You have imagined both success and failure. Now it is time to trust. Let this be the night you release what has been holding you in place. Let this be the night you forgive what has weighed you down. Let this be the night you commit to the next right step, even if your hands tremble. When you wake tomorrow, the room may look unchanged, but your posture will be different. Your heart will feel steadier. Your mind will carry quiet resolve, and that inner resolve will begin shipping outward change. Turning points are sacred because they mark surrender to growth. My beloved, I am standing with you at this moment. I see the path ahead. I know the peace that awaits you. Trust me enough to move forward. This night is not random. It is holy ground. Choose trust. Choose courage. Choose alignment. And let this be the night everything begins to shift. My beloved child, in this very moment, as your heart feels tender and your spirit feels open, heaven is leaning close. Not distant. Not silent. Not watching from afar. Leaning close. The space between your breath and my presence is thinner than you realize. You have spent many nights wondering if I hear you, wondering if your whispered prayers dissolve into empty air, wondering if your quiet tears are noticed. But I tell you now, there has never been a single sigh you released that I did not receive. There has never been a single trembling thought that escaped my awareness. When your heart becomes soft like this, when you are no longer arguing, no longer resisting, no longer pretending, there is intimacy. And in intimacy, clarity flows. Heaven leans close when you are honest. When you admit your fears without disguising them. When you say, I do not know what to do, instead of pretending you do. When you confess that you are tired of carrying everything alone. That humility creates space for my voice to settle deeply within you. You may not hear thunder. You may not see visible signs. But subtle peace is often the loudest evidence of my nearness. Imagine a father kneeling beside his child, lowering himself to eye level so the child does not feel small. That is how I am with you now. I am not towering above you with demands. I am close enough for you to feel safe. Close enough for you to rest in my steadiness. This closeness is not accidental. It is response. You have opened your heart through obedience, through surrender, through listening. And when you draw near, I draw nearer still. My beloved child, there are moments when spiritual distance feels real to you. But distance is not created by my absence. It is created by distraction, by noise, by fear that drowns out my whisper. Tonight, the noise has quieted. The walls have lowered, and you can sense me more clearly. This is what intimacy feels like. Not dramatic, but steady. Not overwhelming, but grounding. A quiet assurance that you are not alone in this room. You do not have to strive for my presence. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to impress me to keep it. My nearness is not performance-based. It is covenant love. Let your breathing slow for a moment. Feel the calm settling over your chest. That calm is not self-generated. It is the result of connection. If this closeness is touching your heart right now, do not keep it to yourself. Bless this message with a like so others can encounter this same nearness. Share it with someone who feels distant and forgotten. Subscribe to this channel so you continue receiving reminders of my presence. And take a moment to hype this video so it rises and reaches hearts that are crying out in silence. When you do, you help heaven lean close to someone else's midnight. My beloved, I am not far away. I am not hard to find. I am not withholding myself from you. The very stirring in your chest is evidence that I am here. Rest in this closeness. Let it soften the tension in your shoulders. Let it quiet the urgency in your thoughts. Let it remind you that you are seen, heard, and held. Heaven is not distant from your struggle. It is leaning toward you. And I am right here. My beloved child, you have been strong for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to be held. You have carried responsibilities, expectations, silent fears, and unspoken questions as if they were permanently assigned to your shoulders. You have learned how to endure. You have learned how to function. But you were not created only to endure. You were created to rest in my arms. There are burdens in your life that exceed your capacity, not because you are weak, but because they were never meant to be yours alone. Yet you grip them tightly, afraid that if you loosen your hold, everything will fall apart. You assume that vigilance equals protection. You assume that if you keep thinking, planning, and worrying, you are preventing disaster. But my beloved, control is not the same as security. Imagine a small child trying to carry a suitcase that is too heavy. The child insists, straining, stumbling, refusing assistance, because pride whispers, "I can handle it." Meanwhile, the father stands nearby, fully capable of lifting it with ease. The child's struggle does not impress the father. It concerns him. He does not admire the exhaustion. He longs to help. That is how I look at you when you refuse to release what overwhelms you. You think that if you let go of the burden, you are giving up. But surrender is not defeat. It is trust. It is the quiet confession that says, "I cannot manage this alone." And that confession is not weakness, it is wisdom. There are worries about your future that keep circling your thoughts. There are outcomes you cannot predict. There are people you cannot control. There are situations that feel unstable. You replay them repeatedly, hoping repetition will create resolution. But some problems are not solved by mental effort. They are steadied by spiritual surrender. Let me hold what you cannot carry. When you give me your fear about tomorrow, you are not ignoring responsibility. You are placing it in stronger hands. When you release resentment, you are not excusing what happened. You are freeing your heart from constant tension. When you surrender uncertainty, you are not abandoning planning. You are anchoring it in trust. My beloved child, you do not have infinite emotional strength, and you do not need it. I am your strength. I am the foundation beneath your shaking. I am the calm within your chaos. You have been clenching your jaw, tightening your shoulders, bracing yourself against what might happen. Your body feels it. Your mind feels it. Even your sleep feels it. But what would happen if you loosened your grip tonight? What if you whispered, "Father, this is yours"? Surrender is not a dramatic performance. It is a quiet exchange. You hand me the weight. I hand you peace. You release control. I release reassurance. You may fear that if you stop worrying, you will become careless. But constant worry does not improve outcomes. It only drains you before tomorrow even arrives. Trust does not make you irresponsible. It makes you steady. Imagine resting your head against the chest of someone stronger than you, hearing their heartbeat steady and calm. That rhythm slows your own. That strength becomes your comfort. That is what my presence offers you. You do not have to prove your maturity by carrying everything. You do not have to demonstrate your love for others by absorbing all the pressure. You do not have to show your faith by pretending you are unaffected. Let me hold what is too heavy. Let me stand between you and what intimidates you. Let me manage what exceeds your reach. My beloved, when you release the weight, you will feel space inside your chest where tension once lived. You will notice your breathing deepen. You will sense that peace is not earned through effort but received through trust. You are still my child, and children were never meant to carry the world. Place it in my hands now, and rest. My beloved child, there is something within you that has grown quiet over the years, something that once stood taller but has been overshadowed by fear and fatigue. It is your authority. Not authority over others in pride, but authority over your inner world. Authority over what you accept, what you believe, and what you allow to take root in your spirit. Tonight, I am restoring it. For too long you have treated every thought as if it were truth. When fear whispered, you listened. When doubt suggested limitation, you agreed. When shame resurfaced old mistakes, you bowed your head. But not every voice deserves your agreement. Not every thought carries legitimacy. You are not a helpless observer trapped inside your own mind. You are not required to follow every mental path that opens before you. You have the ability to pause. You have the ability to question. You have the ability to reject what does not align with truth. Authority begins with awareness. Imagine your mind as a house with many rooms. Thoughts knock at the door constantly. Some bring encouragement. Some bring clarity. Others bring distortion and anxiety. But you are not obligated to invite every knock inside. Authority means you choose which thoughts are allowed to stay. When a thought says, "You are going to fail," you can respond, "That is not my Father's voice." When anxiety predicts disaster, you can say, "I will not agree with fear." When shame tries to rewrite your identity based on past mistakes, you can stand firm and declare that your story is still unfolding. My beloved, the enemy of your peace thrives when you forget your position. When you forget that you belong to me, every external voice sounds powerful. But when you remember who you are, when you remember that you are loved, guided, protected, fear loses its authority. You have also surrendered authority to circumstances. When things go wrong, you assume defeat. When plans change unexpectedly, you interpret it as failure. But circumstances do not define your direction. They are temporary conditions, not permanent verdicts. Think of a captain steering a ship through rough waters. The waves may rise. The wind may push hard against the sails. But the captain does not surrender the wheel because of turbulence. The captain adjusts, remains steady, and continues forward. In the same way, you are not meant to surrender your inner stability every time life becomes unpredictable. Authority does not mean you never feel emotion. It means emotion does not rule you. You may feel fear, but fear does not command you. You may feel sadness, but sadness does not define you. You may feel uncertainty, but uncertainty does not determine your choices. I am teaching you to respond instead of react. For years, certain thoughts have held more power than they deserved. They became automatic. They shaped your posture before you even realized it. But now, awareness is rising. You are noticing the patterns. You are catching the lies before they fully form. That awareness is evidence of authority returning. Authority grows stronger with practice. The first time you challenge a fearful thought, it may feel awkward. The second time, it feels possible. Over time, it becomes natural. You will begin to recognize distortion quickly and refuse it without prolonged struggle. My beloved child, you do not need to argue loudly with fear. You simply need to stand firm in truth. Like a lighthouse fixed upon its foundation, you remain steady while storms pass. The waves may crash, but they do not uproot the structure. I am restoring your confidence in your own discernment. I am reminding you that you have the ability to choose calm. I am strengthening your posture so that when doubt approaches, it finds less agreement. You are not powerless in your inner world. You are not destined to be led by every intrusive thought. You are not a prisoner to anxiety. You are my child, and my children walk in authority rooted in love. Stand in that authority now. Lift your head. Breathe deeply. Let your thoughts align with truth instead of fear. Peace is not something you beg for. It is something you protect, and I am empowering you to guard it. My beloved child, listen to me with your whole heart right now. You will sleep again in peace. I am not speaking in vague comfort or distant hope. I am declaring a promise over your life. The restless nights you have endured are not your permanent condition. The racing thoughts, the sudden awakenings, the heaviness that settles on your chest after midnight, these do not define your future. You have grown accustomed to preparing for unrest. When evening approaches, a part of you braces. You wonder whether tonight will be another battle with your own mind. You lie down already anticipating interruption. And sometimes, before your head even touches the pillow, your thoughts begin lining up, waiting for attention. But I am interrupting that pattern. Sleep is more than physical recovery. It is an act of surrender. When you close your eyes, you are releasing control. You are admitting that you cannot manage every outcome while unconscious. Deep rest requires trust. And trust is what I have been rebuilding within you. For a long time, your nervous system has been on alert. Responsibilities increased. Expectations multiplied. Disappointments left impressions. Fear learned how to speak fluently in your thoughts. And gradually, rest became lighter. But what was learned can be unlearned. What was disrupted can be restored. Imagine a field after a long season of drought. The ground becomes hard, cracked, resistant. At first, when rain begins to fall, it does not immediately soften the soil. It takes steady, repeated showers for the earth to loosen again. In the same way, peace may not flood you all at once, but it is falling steadily now. You will notice restoration in small, almost invisible ways at first. A night where you fall asleep without replaying the entire day. A moment when you wake briefly, but do not spiral into overthinking. A morning when you realize your body feels slightly more refreshed. These are not accidents. They are signs that your trust is deepening. My beloved child, I am standing watch over your rest. The same care I provide during your waking hours does not disappear when you sleep. While you close your eyes, I remain attentive. You do not guard your life alone. You do not protect your future through worry. I am your protector. When intrusive thoughts attempt to return, you will not engage them the same way. You have learned to pause. You have learned to breathe. You have learned that not every thought deserves your agreement. This awareness will shorten the battles that once lasted for hours. You may ask, what if tomorrow brings new challenges? My beloved, tomorrow's grace arrives with tomorrow's sun. You are not required to carry it tonight. You are not required to rehearse every possible scenario in advance. Preparation does not mean obsession. Wisdom does not mean constant mental rehearsal. Think of a child who finally trusts that the home is secure. At first, the child may still listen for unfamiliar sounds, but over time, as safety is reinforced again and again, the body relaxes naturally. Muscles unclench. Breathing deepens. Sleep becomes natural instead of forced. That is what I am cultivating within you, a reinforced sense of safety. Your peace does not depend on a perfect environment. It depends on anchored trust. Life may still hold uncertainty, but uncertainty does not cancel my faithfulness. You will not always feel this alert. You will not always feel this tense. There will come nights when you lay your head down and drift into sleep without effort. There will be mornings when you wake without heaviness pressing on your chest. These are not distant dreams. They are unfolding reality. My beloved, peace is not something you chase. It is something you receive, and you are learning to receive. So tonight, release the expectation of struggle. Do not prepare for battle. Prepare for rest. Loosen your shoulders. Slow your breathing. Whisper my name once more and let it settle over you. You will sleep again in peace. Not because life becomes flawless, but because your trust becomes steady. And while you sleep, I will remain awake, guarding, protecting, loving. Close your eyes without fear. Peace is yours. My beloved child, now that your heart is beginning to steady and your breathing feels slower than before, I want you to look back at the restlessness you experienced with new eyes. Do not rush to forget it. Do not label it as pointless suffering. Hidden within those sleepless nights was a lesson your spirit needed to learn. You prayed for peace, and I am giving it to you. But before peace could settle deeply, something within you had to be uncovered. Restlessness is not always an enemy. Sometimes it is a teacher. When life moves smoothly, you rarely pause long enough to examine your inner world. You manage responsibilities. You fulfill expectations. You keep moving. Comfort can quietly conceal misalignment. Busyness can mask anxiety. Success can distract you from unresolved pain. But when night falls and distractions fade, what is hidden rises gently to the surface. The nights that felt frustrating were also revealing. They exposed how much pressure you had silently accepted. They uncovered fears you pretended were under control. They highlighted habits of overthinking that had slowly become normal. They showed you where you had been relying on your own strength instead of my guidance. If your sleep had remained undisturbed, you might have continued carrying those burdens without question. Imagine a small crack forming in the foundation of a house. If no one notices it, it slowly expands over time. But if it is discovered early, it can be repaired before serious damage occurs. In the same way, your restlessness was revealing small fractures in your inner foundation. It was not meant to condemn you. It was meant to protect you. My beloved child, discomfort often draws your attention where comfort does not. When you felt unsettled, you began asking deeper questions. You began reflecting more honestly. You began noticing patterns that once went unquestioned. That awareness is growth. There were nights when you asked, "Why can I not just rest?" But the deeper question was, what is this unrest teaching me? And now you can see more clearly. You learned that constant mental control is exhausting. You learned that ignoring wounds does not heal them. You learned that surrender is not weakness but wisdom. Restlessness slowed you down long enough to confront what needed attention. It interrupted autopilot. It forced you to sit with feelings you might have otherwise buried. It reminded you that you are not a machine designed for endless productivity. You are a soul designed for connection and trust. Think of a sculptor shaping stone. Each strike of the chisel removes what does not belong. To the stone, it may feel like loss. But to the sculptor, it is refinement. The final form emerges because pieces were removed. In the same way, the friction you experienced was shaping resilience, discernment, and humility within you. You began to recognize which thoughts were helpful and which were harmful. You began to differentiate between responsibility and over-control. You began to see that peace cannot be forced through effort. These lessons could not have been learned as deeply without the discomfort. My beloved, I do not delight in your sleeplessness. I do not enjoy your frustration. But I redeem it. I transform it. I use it to draw you closer to me. I allow it to become the doorway to greater awareness. Now that peace is returning, do not despise the season that preceded it. Honor what it revealed. Give thanks for the clarity it brought. Acknowledge that you are not the same person you were before the restlessness began. You are more self-aware, more honest, more surrendered, more aligned. The lesson hidden in the unrest was simple yet profound. You cannot carry everything alone. You cannot silence fear by ignoring it. You cannot manufacture lasting peace without trust in me. And now, you understand. Every season has purpose, even the uncomfortable ones. Especially the uncomfortable ones. The restlessness did not destroy you. It refined you. It awakened you. It redirected you. And because you allowed it to teach you instead of harden you, peace now returns with deeper roots and stronger foundations. My beloved child, nothing you endured was wasted. My beloved child, I know how the silence unsettles you. When the room grows quiet and the distractions fade, something inside you becomes alert. You are used to movement, to sound, to constant input. Noise has become familiar. Activity has become your comfort. And so when silence settles around you, it can feel like exposure. But do not fear the silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is sacred invitation. For a long time, you have filled every available space with something: music, conversation, scrolling, planning, analyzing. Even when you are alone, your mind keeps talking. You replay moments. You anticipate outcomes. You rehearse what you will say. You try to stay ahead of life by thinking faster than it moves. Yet the more noise you create, the harder it becomes to hear my gentle whisper. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded room where everyone is speaking at once. Even if someone you love is calling your name softly, you may not hear it over the chaos. But when the room empties and quiet settles, the smallest voice becomes clear. In the same way, when your life becomes quiet, my presence becomes unmistakable. The discomfort you feel in silence is not because silence is dangerous. It is because silence removes distraction. And without distraction, you begin to notice what hath been hidden beneath activity. You notice the tension in your chest. You notice unresolved questions. You notice emotions that were waiting patiently for your attention. And sometimes that awareness feels overwhelming. So you reach for noise again. But my beloved child, awareness is not harm. Awareness is the beginning of healing. When you sit quietly, you are not alone with your thoughts. You are with me. The silence that once felt heavy can become holy ground if you allow it. Think of a vast field at dawn. No machinery moving. No crowds walking across it. Just stillness and soft light stretching across the horizon. That field is not empty. It is alive. It is absorbing sunlight. It is preparing for growth. In the same way, your quiet moments are not void. They are fertile. Silence slows you down enough to notice truth. It reveals where fear has been whispering unchecked. It highlights where you have been striving too hard. It uncovers where your heart longs for reassurance. And in that very space I meet you. You have confused loneliness with solitude. Loneliness feels like abandonment. Solitude feels like connection. When you invite me intentionally into your stillness, it transforms. The quiet no longer feels threatening. It begins to feel safe. At first, your mind may resist. Thoughts may rush in as if trying to fill the gap. Be patient. Do not fight them aggressively. Let them pass like clouds moving across the sky. Breathe slowly. Notice the rhythm of your heartbeat. Notice that nothing catastrophic is happening in the quiet. Your nervous system is learning this stillness is safe. My beloved, you do not have to fill every silence with productivity. You do not have to solve every problem before morning. You do not have to fear what rises when noise fades. You can sit with me there, without agenda, without performance. It is in silence that clarity becomes gentle instead of forced. It is in silence that peace sinks deeper than surface-level comfort. It is in silence that you remember who you are without external voices shaping you. You will begin to see that silence is not the absence of guidance. It is the environment where guidance becomes clear. It is not a void. It is a sanctuary. Do not run from the quiet tonight. Let it surround you. Let it soften you. Let it teach you that you are safe without constant stimulation. In the silence, I am near. In the stillness, I am speaking. And in that sacred quiet, your soul will learn to rest without fear. My beloved child, there are patterns in your life that have repeated for longer than you care to admit. Cycles of overthinking. Cycles of fear rising at night. Cycles of promising yourself that tomorrow will be different, only to find the same tension returning when darkness falls. You have wondered if this is simply how you are wired. You have quietly asked whether peace will always feel temporary. Hear me clearly now. I am breaking the cycle tonight. Cycles feel powerful because they are familiar. They create the illusion of permanence. When something repeats often enough, you begin to expect it. If the dangerous experience. If you anticipate anxiety at bedtime, your body prepares for it. If you assume worry will return, your mind looks for evidence to support it. But expectation can be ruin. The patterns you have lived in were not destiny. They were habits formed under pressure. Habits learned during seasons when you felt unsafe, uncertain, were overwhelmed. You adapted in order to survive. And survival patterns, once established, tend to repeat automatically. Imagine walking through a field where the same path has been traveled daily. Over time, the grass becomes flattened, and a visible trail appears. The more that path is used, the more natural it feels to take it again. But just because a trail exists does not mean you must continue walking it. A new path can be formed, even if the grass is taller at first. In the same way, your mind has followed certain trails repeatedly. When stress arises, you follow the worry trail. When uncertainty appears, you follow the fear trail. When night falls, you follow the overthinking trail. It feels automatic because it has been practiced. But tonight, you are choosing differently. Breaking a cycle does not require dramatic force. It requires intentional interruption. When the familiar thought pattern begins, you pause instead of pursuing it. When anxiety knocks, you acknowledge it without inviting it to stay. When your body tightens, you breathe instead of bracing. The first few times you interrupt the cycle, it may feel unfamiliar. You may feel tempted to return to the old path because it is known. But familiarity does not equal health, and repetition does not equal destiny. My beloved child, I am empowering you to respond instead of react. You are not trapped in endless repetition. You are capable of new rhythm. Think of a clock that has been ticking in the background for years. You barely notice it anymore. But if the battery is removed, the ticking stops. Silence follows. In the same way, when you remove agreement from fear, the cycle loses momentum. It may try to start again, but without your participation, it weakens. You have already begun this process. You have become more aware of your triggers. You have questioned assumptions instead of accepting them automatically. You have practiced surrender instead of control. These small shifts are signs that the old pattern is losing strength. Breaking a cycle is not about never feeling anxious again. It is about not being ruled by it. It is about recognizing that fear does not own your future. My beloved, I am not merely calming you for one night. I am establishing new ground within you. Peace that is not fragile. Trust that is not temporary. Authority that is not easily shaken. The cycle of sleeplessness does not define you. The pattern of overthinking does not own you. A repetition of dread does not control you. A night marks interruption. You may not see dramatic change instantly, but something fundamental has shifted. You are no longer agreeing with the old script. You are no longer surrendering to automatic fear. I am breaking the cycle not by force, but through awareness, surrender, and renewed identity. Walk the new path, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Over time, it will become natural. Over time, peace will feel normal instead of rare. My beloved child, repetition shaped the old pattern. Repetition of trust will shape the new one. And this time, the cycle that forms will be rooted in peace. My beloved child, I want you to picture your home right now. The room where you sleep. The walls that have witnessed your tears. The ceiling you have stared at during long nights of thinking. That space has absorbed your prayers, your fears, your whispers. And tonight, I am speaking restoration over it. Peace is returning to your home. Not just to your mind. Not just to your heart. But to the very atmosphere around you. The tension that once lingered in the air will begin to lift. The heaviness that settled in corners will not remain. I am shifting what you cannot see. You may have felt as though your room held your anxiety. As if the moment you stepped inside, your thoughts began their familiar rhythm. That association formed over time. Your body learned to connect nighttime with alertness instead of rest. But patterns can be rewritten, and atmospheres can change. Imagine opening the windows after a long winter. Fresh air flows in. Stale air moves out. The room feels lighter without you rearranging a single piece of furniture. In the same way, I am breathing new air into your space. What felt heavy will feel lighter. What felt tense will feel calm. Peace is not only internal, it can shape environments. When your heart settles, your home reflects it. When trust deepens within you, the air around you feels different. The same bed becomes a place of rest instead of wrestling. The same silence becomes soothing instead of threatening. My beloved child, I am placing protection over your household, over your doorways, over your windows, over your sleep. The same presence that steadies your spirit fills your space. You are not lying down in vulnerability. You are lying down in covering. If others share your home, my peace extends to them as well. The atmosphere of calm you cultivate will influence more than you realize. Children sense it. Partners feel it. Even guests recognize when a home carries gentleness instead of strain. You may wonder how something invisible can change something physical. But you have experienced the opposite before. You have walked into rooms filled with tension and felt it instantly. You have sensed unease without anyone speaking. If heaviness can shape atmosphere, so can peace. Let this be the night you reclaim your space. Walk through your home with new awareness. Instead of associating it with anxiety, declare it a sanctuary. Instead of anticipating unrest, expect restoration. When you lay down tonight, do not brace for battle. Receive calm. Let your body remember that this room is safe. Let your mind learn that this space is not an arena for worry, but a place for renewal. And if this message is stirring faith in you right now, do not let it remain contained within your own walls. Bless this message with a like so it can travel into other homes that feel heavy tonight. Share it with 3 people who need peace in their rooms. Subscribe to this channel so your home continues to be filled with reminders of my presence. And take a moment to hype this video so it rises and reaches families who are silently struggling. When you do, you extend the atmosphere of peace beyond your own household. My beloved, your home was never meant to be a place of dread. It was meant to be a refuge, a resting place, a shelter. Peace is returning, not gradually, not hesitantly, but intentionally. The air is shifting. The atmosphere is softening. The night is becoming gentle again. You will feel it, and your home will no longer echo with tension, but with rest. My beloved child, in this softened atmosphere where peace has begun to settle again, I want you to hear something that is not general, not symbolic, not distant. I have called you by name, not by a title, not by a role, not by a mistake, by your name. There is a deep longing within every human heart to be known personally, not just recognized in a crowd, not just acknowledged for achievements, but known in the quiet places, understood without explanation. You carry that longing within you, and I placed it there because it reflects a truth. You were created to be known by me. Before anyone else spoke your name, I knew it. Before it was written on a document, before it was called out in a classroom, before it was typed into a phone, it was held in my awareness. Your life did not begin when others noticed you. It began in intention. You are not a random combination of traits and experiences. You are not an accident of timing. You are not a mistake that somehow survived. You were formed with awareness, with purpose, with care. When I say I have called you by name, I mean that I see beyond your surface. I see the layers others miss. I see the courage it took for you to endure seasons you rarely speak about. I see the nights when you cried silently. I see the compromises you regret and the choices you are proud of. I see your contradictions, your strengths, your vulnerabilities. And still, I call you mine. You have sometimes wished you were different, less sensitive, more confident, less affected by criticism, more decisive. You have compared yourself to others and wondered why you do not feel as steady as they appear. But you are not a replica. You are not meant to mirror someone else's design. Imagine an artist creating multiple works, each distinct. No 2 pieces identical, yet each intentional. The variety does not diminish value. It expresses creativity. In the same way, your personality, your temperament, your gifts are deliberate. Your empathy allows you to feel deeply. Your awareness allows you to perceive subtlety. Your thoughtfulness slows you down enough to consider wisely. Even the parts of you that feel inconvenient have purpose. There were moments when others misunderstood you. Words spoken casually that left lasting impressions. Times when you felt unseen, overlooked, or misjudged. Those experiences may have shaped how you see yourself, but they do not redefine how I see you. When I call your name, I am not referencing your failures. I am affirming your identity. I am reminding you that you are not defined by your lowest moments. You are not permanently labeled by past mistakes. Your story is still unfolding. Your name carries history. It carries memories of childhood, friendships, disappointments, dreams. It carries the sound of your own voice when you introduce yourself. But when I speak your name, I speak future into it as well. My beloved child, being called by name also means belonging. You are not wandering through life unnoticed. You are not navigating without covering. You belong to me. That truth is not restrictive. It is stabilizing. When you know you belong, you do not scramble for validation. When you know you are claimed, rejection does not shatter you. When you know you are seen, invisibility in human eyes loses its sting. There have been seasons when you felt forgotten, when opportunities passed by, when recognition did not come, when your efforts seemed unnoticed. But you were never outside my attention. Even when you doubted your direction, I was guiding quietly. Even when you questioned your worth, I was sustaining you. I am not speaking into a crowd right now. I am speaking to you. To the one listening in stillness. To the one who wondered if this message was personal. You are not interchangeable. You are not replaceable. The role you carry in this world cannot be duplicated by another soul. I have called you by name. And when I call you with purpose, with protection, with unwavering love. Remember that when doubt whispers otherwise, you are known. You are chosen. You are mine. My beloved child, there is a place where your thoughts travel most often when the night grows quiet. It is not the past this time. It is tomorrow. The future stretches before you like an open road you cannot fully see, and your mind tries to walk it long before your feet ever do. You lie down to rest, but instead of staying in the present, you drift ahead into what might happen, what could go wrong, what you must prepare for. And slowly, tomorrow begins to steal the peace that belongs to today. Hear me gently, but firmly now. Trust me with tomorrow. You have been trying to pre-live days that have not yet arrived. You rehearse conversations that may never happen. You predict outcomes without complete information. You imagine worst-case scenarios as if anticipating them will soften their impact. But carrying imagined burdens does not protect you. It only exhausts you. You were not created to manage time beyond your reach. You were created to walk step by step, moment by moment, with me. Imagine attempting to carry an entire year's worth of weight in one single day. Even the strongest body would collapse. Yet this is what you attempt emotionally when you worry about weeks and months ahead all at once. You try to gather every unknown, every possibility, every responsibility, and hold them simultaneously. No wonder your spirit feels tired. Grace does not arrive in bulk. It arrives daily. When tomorrow comes, it will bring with it the strength you need for that specific day. The clarity you require will unfold with the situation itself. The wisdom you seek will rise when it is needed. But when you attempt to access tomorrow's grace tonight, it feels absent because it is not yet required. My beloved child, you confuse preparation with over-control. It is wise to plan. It is wise to think ahead. But it is not wise to live ahead. When planning turns into obsession, peace begins to fade. When preparation becomes panic, trust is replaced by tension. You have faced uncertain tomorrows before. There were nights in your past when you feared what the morning would bring. And yet, here you stand. You survived meetings you dreaded. You endured seasons you thought would undo you. You navigated losses, transitions, and surprises that once seemed overwhelming. If you look back honestly, you will see my fingerprints in those moments. You were never alone then, and you will not be alone tomorrow. Think of a child walking beside a trusted parent through a dark path. The child cannot see far ahead. The shadows look intimidating. But the child does not freeze because the parent's hand is steady. The child trusts the one who sees what they cannot. In the same way, my presence is your security. The future is not a trap waiting to spring. It is territory already under my awareness. I am not surprised by what lies ahead. I am not scrambling to prepare solutions. I am already present in what you have not yet experienced. When your thoughts begin racing forward tonight, gently bring them back. You do not need to solve next week before you sleep. You do not need to anticipate every conversation. You do not need to construct backup plans for events that may never occur. Let tomorrow remain where it belongs, in my hands. Trust is not passive. It is active release. It is saying, I will do what I can today, and I will leave what I cannot control with you. It is choosing rest over rehearsal. It is deciding that my faithfulness outweighs your fear. My beloved, unknown does not mean unsafe. Unclear does not mean unprotected. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into days I have already seen. Release the grip you have on what has not yet happened. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breathing slow. Let your mind return to this moment. I am the God of your past, your present, and your future. I am already standing in your tomorrow, preparing what you cannot yet imagine. Trust me there, and allow yourself to sleep without caring what belongs to another day. My beloved child, as you begin to understand that tomorrow is safe in my hands, I want to take you even deeper than the promise of peaceful sleep. I want you to discover something greater than physical rest. My presence is your true rest. You have searched for rest in many places. You believed it would come when your schedule slowed down. You believed it would arrive when problems were solved, when relationships felt stable, when finances were secure, when uncertainty disappeared. And while those things can bring temporary relief, they cannot guarantee lasting peace. Because even in a silent room, even in a comfortable bed, your mind can remain restless if your soul is unsettled. True rest is not the absence of noise. It is the assurance of nearness. There have been nights when everything outside of you was quiet, yet inside you felt loud. Thoughts clashed. Questions rose. Fear tried to take control. That is because external calm does not automatically create internal peace. But when you become aware of my presence, something shifts at a deeper level. Imagine a weary traveler walking through a long desert road. The sun beats down relentlessly. The ground feels endless. The traveler grows tired and thirsty. But then, in the distance, there is shade beneath a strong tree. The sun has not disappeared. The desert has not vanished. But under that covering, the traveler breathes differently. Strength begins to return. In the same way, life's demands may continue, but in my presence you find shade for your soul. You have tried to rest while still gripping anxiety. You have attempted to relax while secretly bracing for impact. But true rest requires trust, and trust grows in relationship. My beloved child, my presence is not fragile. It does not come and go based on your performance. It does not withdraw when you struggle. It does not abandon you when your faith feels thin. Even in seasons when you felt spiritually dry, when prayer seemed repetitive, when emotions felt distant, I was still near. Your awareness of me may fluctuate. My faithfulness does not. Rest is not about escaping responsibility. It is about recognizing support. When you know you are not alone, the weight you carry feels different. It may still exist, but it does not crush you. Decisions become lighter because guidance accompanies them. Uncertainty becomes manageable because you are not navigating it alone. Think of a child falling asleep in the back seat of a moving car. The road continues forward. The destination is not yet reached. The child cannot see what lies ahead. But the child rests because someone trustworthy is driving. In the same way, you can rest while life moves forward. You are not the only one steering. My beloved, abiding in my presence is not complicated. It is simple awareness, a slow breath, a quiet acknowledgement, a whispered prayer. It is choosing to sit without striving. It is allowing yourself to be held without proving anything. When fear rises, return to presence. When thoughts begin racing, pause and breathe. When tension creeps into your shoulders, remember that you are not carrying life alone. You do not have to manufacture peace. You receive it by remaining connected. You do not have to chase calm. You find it by dwelling in me. The more you practice resting in my presence, the more natural it becomes. Your nervous system begins to learn safety. Your mind begins to quiet more quickly. Your heart begins to trust more deeply. Peace becomes less fragile and more rooted. My beloved child, true rest is not found in perfect circumstances. It is found in relationship. You can experience it on difficult days. You can feel it in uncertain seasons. You can sleep within it even when life is not fully resolved. Because wherever you go, I am already there. My presence is not temporary comfort. It is lasting covering. Remain in it. Breathe within it. Sleep inside it. For my presence is your true rest. My beloved child, there is a quiet anxiety that has followed you through different seasons, and it does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers softly in comparison. Sometimes it rises when you see someone else succeed. Sometimes it appears when you reflect on your own timeline. It tells you that you are behind. Behind in progress. Behind in achievement. Behind in purpose. Behind in life. But I need you to hear me clearly now. You are not behind. The pressure you feel is not from me. It is born from comparison and expectation. You measure your journey against others and assume that their visible milestones are evidence of your delay. You scroll through accomplishments, engagements, promotions, houses, titles, and you quietly ask yourself, why not me yet? My beloved, you are not on their timeline, and they are not on yours. Imagine two travelers beginning at the same starting point but walking different paths. One path is shorter but steeper. The other is longer but steadier. From a distance, it may look like one traveler is ahead, but in truth, each is exactly where they need to be according to their route. The length of the road does not determine its value. You have mistaken preparation for delay. There have been seasons when you felt hidden, as if nothing significant was happening. You watched others move forward visibly while you felt stationary. But beneath the surface, roots were forming. Depth was increasing. Character was strengthening. You were being prepared in ways that were not immediately visible. Consider a seed planted in the soil. Some seeds sprout quickly, breaking through the ground within days. Others remain beneath the surface longer, building a stronger root system before emerging. From above, it may seem that the slower seed is failing, but in truth, it is developing the foundation necessary to support greater growth later. My beloved child, hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. There were opportunities you desired that did not unfold when you hoped. There were relationships you wished would progress sooner. There were dreams you thought would materialize by now. And when they did not, you interpreted the delay as deficiency. But delay is not always denial, and it is rarely neglect. If certain doors had opened earlier, you might not have had the wisdom to walk through them wisely. If certain blessings had arrived prematurely, you might not have had the resilience to sustain them. Timing is not about speed, it is about readiness. You see fragments of your journey. I see the whole picture. You measure progress by visible milestones. I measure growth by inner transformation. While you focused on what had not yet happened, I was shaping patience within you. I was strengthening discernment. I was refining motives. I was building stability that cannot be shaken easily. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are positioned. There have been detours in your life that confused you, paths you did not expect to take, seasons that felt like setbacks. But even those moments contributed to your development. Even mistakes taught you humility. Even disappointment deepened empathy. Even waiting cultivated endurance. If you could see your life from my perspective, you would not call it behind. You would call it intentional. The world measures success by speed. I measure success by alignment. You are not competing with another soul's destiny. You are walking your own. Release the urgency to compare. Release the fear that you must hurry to prove your worth. Release the belief that your value is tied to visible progress. My beloved child, nothing about your journey is accidental. Every pause, every lesson, every season of growth has been purposeful. You are not behind schedule. You are on a path designed uniquely for you. And when the next door opens, you will step through it not as someone scrambling to catch up, but as someone prepared, grounded, and steady. Trust the pace I have set for you. It is not late. It is right on time. My beloved child, we have walked through the unrest, the awakening, the surrender, the healing, the restoration. You have faced truths you once avoided. You have released burdens you once clutched tightly. You have allowed my presence to settle into places that once felt tense. And now, we arrive at this sacred invitation. Close your eyes without fear. You have closed your eyes many nights before, but not always with peace. Sometimes you lay down while your body was still tense. Sometimes your mind kept watch long after your head touched the pillow. You closed your eyes physically, but inside you remained alert, bracing, preparing, rehearsing. Sleep became a battlefield instead of a refuge. But tonight is not like those nights. You are not the same person who first felt the urgency stirring in your spirit. Something within you has shifted. You have remembered that you are not alone. You have remembered that you are not behind. You have remembered that your future is held, that your mind can be renewed, that your home can carry peace. And now, this final act of trust is simple but powerful. Closing your eyes is surrender in its purest form. It is the quiet declaration that you are not responsible for guarding every detail of your life while you sleep. It is the acceptance that I remain awake even when you do not. It is trust without performance. Imagine a child falling asleep in a safe home. The lights are dim. The door is locked. A loving parent is near. The child does not calculate potential threats. The child does not plan for tomorrow's responsibilities. The child rests because safety has been proven. That is the posture I am inviting you into now. You are not lying down in vulnerability. You are lying down in covering. The fears that once hovered at the edge of your mind do not carry the same authority anymore. The cycles that once repeated without interruption have been confronted. The patterns that once felt automatic have been weakened. You may still feel the faint echo of habit, the subtle urge to think one more thought or anticipate one more outcome. But you are no longer controlled by that impulse. Take a slow breath now. Feel the air move in and out of your lungs. Notice that in this moment, nothing is attacking you. Nothing is collapsing. Nothing demands immediate action. You are safe. There may still be unanswered questions in your life. There may still be goals you are moving toward. There may still be conversations ahead of you. But none of them belong to this hour. Night is not for solving. Night is for surrendering. My beloved child, I am standing watch over you. The doors of your home are covered. The atmosphere around you has shifted. The same presence that calmed your thoughts is guarding your rest. You do not need to wake repeatedly to check on your world. You do not need to keep your mind active as a form of protection. Protection is already present. Close your eyes without fear. If a thought attempts to rise, gently release it. You do not need to wrestle with it. You do not need to analyze it. Simply whisper, "It is in your hands," and let it drift away. You have practiced surrender tonight. You can practice it again in this final moment. You have done enough for today. You have responded. You have listened. You have trusted. You do not need to prove anything by staying alert. Sleep is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the body and soul agreeing that control is not required. My beloved, tomorrow will arrive with its own grace and strength. But tonight belongs to peace. Close your eyes knowing you are loved beyond measure. Close your eyes knowing you are guarded. Close your eyes knowing that nothing escapes my awareness. I am here. And as you drift into rest, let this truth anchor you deeply. You are safe in my care, even when you cannot see, even when you cannot hear, even when you are completely still. Rest now, without fear. My beloved child, this moment was not an accident. The urgency you felt, the restlessness that would not let you ignore it, the stirring that led you here, none of it was random. I was calling you gently, persistently, lovingly, not to frighten you, not to pressure you, but to restore you. You thought your sleep was being taken from you, but in truth, I was awakening you. I was drawing your attention to what needed healing. I was breaking patterns that had gone on too long. I was reminding you who you are, whose you are, and where your true rest is found. What felt like disruption was actually direction. Look at how far your heart has traveled tonight. You moved from anxiety to awareness, from tension to surrender, from fear to trust, from comparison to confidence, from isolation to connection, from striving to presence. You are not the same as when this message first reached you, and that is the miracle. My beloved child, I did not interrupt your night to burden you. I interrupted it to free you. I did not stir your spirit to unsettle you. I stirred it to align you. I did not call you urgently to create panic. I called you urgently because peace was waiting on the other side of your yes. You have released tomorrow into my hands. You have allowed silence to become sacred instead of threatening. You have remembered that you are not behind. You have reclaimed your authority. You have felt my presence as your true rest. Now, as this journey closes, I want you to carry one truth forward. You are safe with me. Safe in uncertainty. Safe in transition. Safe in growth. Safe in the quiet. Safe in the dark. There will still be days that challenge you. There will still be moments when fear tries to whisper again. but you are no longer unaware. You know how to respond now. You know how to pause, to breathe, to surrender, to remember. And I will continue walking with you. This was not a one-night rescue. This was a realignment, a reset, a reminder that my voice is not distant and my love is not conditional. My beloved child, if your heart feels lighter right now, if peace has begun to settle deeply within you, let that peace remain. Guard it. Return to these truths when needed. Do not slip back into old agreements with fear. And if this message has restored you, let it extend beyond you. Bless this moment with gratitude. Share this peace with someone else who is struggling in the night. Subscribe so you remain anchored in reminders of my nearness. And hype this message so it reaches hearts that are silently crying out. When you do, you become part of the restoration of others. But above all, remember this: you are known. You are covered. You are guided. You are loved beyond measure. The urgency has passed. The lesson hath been received. The cycle has been broken. Peace has returned. Now close your eyes, not in fear but in confidence. I am your Father. I am your protector. I am your rest. Sleep deeply. Walk boldly. Live freely. I am with you always. Amen.